Well, y'all, it has officially been reported as of today that Hulk Hogan has passed away. Okay, so we basically got the news today at 71 years old, Hulk Hogan has died. All right, so now allegedly the information is that, according to multiple different articles, Hulk Hogan's house, like from his house, there came a call. I think it was yesterday or maybe it had been today. I don't know. But the call came through basically calling that he had cardiac arrest. Okay, there were some issues with that. I'm assuming they then called the ambulance, and the ambulance took them to a hospital nearby. And then at the hospital overnight or today, I think he did officially, pass away, and they were able to conclude that information. So Hulk Hogan basically died from cardiac arrest. Now, I do remember shortly after Raw on Netflix, I feel like there was some report that came out that his health wasn't great. You could kind of see that at Raw on Netflix. You could just see his body and then obviously know the fact that, obviously in the 80s, 90s, 70s, everybody, all the big wrestlers and athletes were all pumping, a bunch of different drugs and, that certain thing that rhymes with pain that starts with a C. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't want to say, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to, ruin any guidelines or anything like that. But, that booger sugar, as some people will call it, that thing basically was being used by a lot of different wrestlers. So you never know how that could have had a play, all those different substances. But yeah, his health was clearly not in a good spot. And I guess the cardiac arrest just stemmed from other issues maybe he was having at the time. I'm so curious to see what kind of issues this dude was, dealing with or whatnot, or what kind of health problems were taking place. Because, at the end of the day, he is somebody's father, I'm saying? He's somebody's son, obviously, okay? And he's probably someone's uncle, he's still a person. But obviously, I've seen on X and obviously on Instagram, on here on YouTube, you're probably going to see it. People are actually celebrating his death. And, people are, going out there and being happy that he passed away. Because obviously, Hulk Hogan has become a very polarizing and, disliked figure over the heavy mistakes he's made over the last couple decades. But, me personally, today is not a day where we focus on mistakes. You get what I'm saying? We're not here to focus on the mistakes of his past, of his life. I'm just here to report to you guys the fact that he did pass away. And we would be disrespectful and remiss to not acknowledge the fact that Hulk Hogan is one of the most pivotal wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling. He is the one who helped build, helped Vince McMahon build, this industry, this wrestling industry, to a multi-billion-dollar industry. You get what I mean? He had a massive effect on the business and building it into what it is today. And, back then, so that other companies could actually make professional wrestling organizations and continue the entertainment medium that we've loved for many years. So I'm not here today to bash anyone. I'm not here to critique anyone. We all have our personal issues with people. You get what I'm saying? We all, I have personal issues with triple fraud. You know what I'm saying? The game. I have personal issues with triple fraud. Like, I'm sure we all have personal feelings about Vince McMahon, right? Not all of us like Vince McMahon off camera, right? Obviously, I'm not going to be like, yeah, man, Vince McMahon's a great guy. I don't know the guy, and obviously off of what he's done, right? Like, no one outside of WWE is actually going to look at this dude and be like, yeah, I love Vince McMahon. But I'm never going to sit here and, disrespect the fact of Vince McMahon's legacy in WWE specifically. Like, that dude built WWE to what it was. Without him, we wouldn't have pro wrestling the way that we have it. And so I'm always going to give him the respect for what he did in the business. Outside of the business, there's the different things there, but that's not what it's about. We're here to balance out, what we feel about people combined with the actual, facts about what we're seeing. So that's just what it is, man. At the end of the day, when someone passes, I'm not here to talk about all of our opinions and the way I feel about people. I'm just here to report to you the information. I'm not using this to try and bash or critique anyone or anything like that. That's not what this is about. This is about a human being who lost their life and who happened to matter a lot to the, the lineage and the history of professional wrestling. So, that's really all I'm here to do. I'm just here to give you guys that. All the other stuff, the internet can do that. I'm not here to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. But yeah, Hulk Hogan has officially passed away. Again, like I said, I'm very curious to see exactly what, took place, obviously, I'm saying in his heart and in his body. I guess that'll come out in the next few weeks or maybe the next few months if they make it public, what was happening with him on his way out. But, it is crazy to see the last time, that he showed up at Raw on Netflix, man. It's just, that's going to play as the last time that people saw Hulk Hogan publicly at an arena. And, it's just going to be him getting booed out of the building at Raw on Netflix this year. So it's crazy how life is, man. There's so many ebbs and flows. Everything can change in an instant. I'm sure people, who grew up in the 80s and 90s, in the 70s, they're, used to the old brother, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I am a real American, all that stuff. So that's kind of, the generation of some of my older family members and stuff like that. They grew up with Hulk Hogan's, and then it was The Rock and Austin and your Michaels and stuff like that all being in their primes. And that was the, those were the guys that they had, and then obviously we grew up and we had our Cenas, and our Ortons and our Triple H's, and we had Taker and we had Michaels, we had Jericho, we had CM Punk, you know what I'm saying? We had all those dudes. And obviously now the younger generation, they've been blessed with getting Dr. Libations, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Libations and I can't stop thinking about Punk. So you got Drew McIntyre loaded up in there. Obviously, Romano Reigns, Seth Rollins is part of my childhood as well. Same with Roman, obviously, and a couple others. Stardust, But that's the deal with that. These wrestlers all shape the entertainment medium that, we've watched and that we've appreciated for many years. So I would be remiss to not come on here and at least acknowledge the fact that Hulk Hogan's importance to professional wrestling is extremely vital. And without him, there's probably a decent scenario where we wouldn't have wrestling the way we have it, because he was extremely important in the, obviously in those 70s and 80s and 90s, to build the cachet of pro wrestling worldwide and, sell tickets and help Vince McMahon build the brand. So all of the all-time legends, whether you like them or not, they all played a role in building professional wrestling. And I'm just here to report the fact that he did pass away. So, he definitely did leave a, in wrestling, he left a great legacy for himself. But then obviously, off camera, people are, not going to like his legacy, obviously, which it is what it is. So at the end of the day, that's the deal. Hulk Hogan passes away, man. Rest in peace. And that's that. Let me know what you think in the comment sections below. And that's pretty much it, man. I wanted to report that for you guys. And as always, I thank you guys so much for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out. And hug a loved one today, bro. One love.